Hello, everyone. Kim Victoria here, and today is another idea for ABC April 2025. I'm going to do O today for origami. Origami was not on the prompt list, but it's perfect for junk journals and journals of any kind because folded paper envelopes are a wonderful addition as a little piece of ephemera that can tuck into a pocket, a belly band, or anything like that. It also, in investigating all the possibilities, I chose six that can be glued onto a page and they create a hidden writing spot. So I thought origami would be a great addition to this wonderful list of the ABCs of making journals. And so I've chosen some fun papers here. I've got some 12 by 12, and we'll talk about them one at a time as we get to them. And I'm going to start with the simplest envelope design and go to something that's a bit more complex. And I think that's, yeah. So let me start with the simplest one and we will go from there. And I've got six all together. Okay? So I think this should be fun. So what I suggest for these kinds of envelopes is to work with paper that is um, preferably a little different on both sides. This is actual origami paper. What is this? This is, so you could use the thin paper, single-sided paper. Yeah, this is almost, it's 5 7/8, so it's almost 6 by 6. So obviously you could use 6 by 6 paper pad that has white on the back. Especially for these real simple ones, because very little of the white paper shows on the outside. So for this first one, these are very, very simple. So for this first one, you want to fold point to point in line and just leave a little bit of the inside showing. Very, very simple. And then it might be good to kind of have a measurement like this because what you're going for is about, well, you don't have to measure anything, but it's about a third and a third and a third. You want to have this crossover where they're almost to the other end. That's how simple this is. So we're looking for about a third and a third. So I'm just going to eyeball this. And you want to line it up straight with the bottom. And that is pretty simple. So then you're tucking one side into the other. It doesn't matter whether you go this way or the other way. Well, I don't know why it's being so stubborn. So because you do have to kind of wiggle it in there, you know it's going to stay. And then from there, you're just folding it over. And that's all there is to it. So if this is glued into a journal, oh yeah, and you could make like a little spot there for it to tuck into. So if it's glued onto the page of a journal, see this, I'm just pretending that it's glued down. There's your hidden writing spot. This whole thing could be written on. And then it's just a fold, a fold. And once it's gone in a couple of times, it gets a lot easier. And there it is. So that's how simple that one is. Okay? So there's all your crease lines. All right, there's number one. All right, so number two, Again, this is the origami paper, perfectly square, 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So do use 6 by 6 if that's what you have. So this one starts out almost the same as the other one. So what you want to do is this one you fold totally point to point on the diagonal. All right. So again, what you want to do, well, that's right. First, you got to fold this down, and it helps if you've got the lines on the board and you get it lined up. So these lines are really handy because you want to put this point on the same line as the other point. Okay. And now we want to do a third and a third and a third again. So that's where we want to try and find the third and a third and a third. So let's see. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Just a little teeny bit more. Okay. There we go. Yep. That is very good. Okay. So now you got the third and the third and the third. So you open that out. And then on this side, see if I'm remembering it correctly, you fold this point back this way and crease it really well in the middle. And then you want to fold the point back up. So you're going from here to here. So now you've got this thing happening. And what you're going to do is kind of poke your finger in there so that it goes the other way. And you've got this kind of little thing going. So then that goes over there, that goes over there. And you fold the top down and tuck the point in. Try to get some shadow on here so you can see what's happening. So again, this could be glued down so that you could just open it up. And there's your secret writing spot, your hidden writing spot. And once these folds are in place, they just go back where they belong very, very well. Okay, so those two are the simplest. So let's see if I can make this one simple. I am lining up the points of my square with the grid pattern. And I think that's that's helpful. But if you don't worry about it too much because this one is it's not centered, okay? It's a little off center. So this first fold, what you're going for is you want the points to line up with each other, but you want quite a bit of the other side exposed. So we're just trying to line that up point to point and leave a whole bunch of it exposed. So I'm just going to say it that way. And then this point comes back centered again, right to the edge. Okay, so this is what you've got. So you don't have to measure or anything. So don't worry about that. So now this other point is not going to fold right where the edge of that is, but you're going to go across And again, you're going to go across, and we're looking to get kind of like this little opening here, but it's asymmetrical. There's a reason for that. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not measuring. I'm just letting it extend beyond. We want to fold this back so that we expose a little bit of the tip of that point. So I'm just continuing to line up with this line. So now this has got a little bit of an exposure. And with this, we want to it's just kind of a little back and forth kind of thing. And then this comes back here. And actually, I could have gone, let's see. I'm trying to get as much as possible. You want to see these layers. You see how these layers are going? That's really nice. There. Okay, so that's how that works. So it looks a little bit complicated, but it's very it's very flexible. You just want this tip and you want to expose a little bit of this tip, and then you just fold this so that you've got this nice zigzag pattern. Now, the only thing left to do to make it, now you could just leave it like this, long on an envelope. That would be kind of fun. And then it just opens out and it's a writing spot. That would look really, really good. So just the way it is, you might want to have like a little ribbon to tie over the top of this. So that would be cool. Or you could glue these layers down and it could just open like that. So a lot of possibilities with that. But the one extra step that usually comes with this design is to fold it over. And you just want to line up your sides. And and you're folding it over right where that zigzag comes across. Okay. Open that back out. Open those back out. And now bring it to the inside. And now when you refold it, you've got this little packet. There. So yeah, so you need like a little ribbon or just glue down those little bits. I haven't done a lot of experimenting with this. I just thought origami would be a really great idea. So I researched a bunch of different envelope patterns. And once this is in a journal for a while, it's just going to get flatter and flatter. So that one's really cute. And this started with a nearly 6 by 6. So imagine this if you start with an 8 by 8, a 10 by 10, you'll have a bigger and bigger envelope. So I hope that was clear. All right. So that's number 3. So this next one, you need a long piece, and your paper should be double whatever this is. So 4 inches here means 8 inches here. 3 inches here means 6 inches this way, and so on. So if you wanted to use half of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, 6 one way and 12 the other, that would be perfect. So anything is double, 1 to 2. That's the ratio is 1 to 2. All right, so on this one, you just fold this one in half from the long way. Oh, and in Japanese paper folding, they never ink edges. So they have maybe quite common to have color on one side and pattern on the other side of origami paper. But in our journaling world, we do a lot of inking of the edges. So I went ahead and I inked edges so that it could stand out a little bit more. So there's another thought. Okay, so now this one, we just folded it in half the long ways. Okay, so then you fold, you want to keep that crease in mind. And I usually use a fingernail. You could use the bone folder, but you want to kind of support the paper so that you get a nice clean diagonal fold. You want to line up this edge of the paper with the center fold. You get a nice clean shape like that. And you want to do the same thing, but in the opposite direction. Okay, so you've got this happening with that center fold. All right, and now let's see, make sure I'm going in the correct direction. So now you want to fold that again. So now you're just bringing that corner in, this corner to that corner. We always want nice, sharp folds. All right. So there we go. We have that and that. And now you're going to do it one more time in that direction. And this one in this direction. Very good. And now you're bringing the sides together instead of the point to point. Okay, so we've been doing this point and then to the point and to the point, and now we want side to side. Same here. We want to bring the sides together. And really burnish that edge down. Okay, so this is what we have here. So now, yep, make sure I got that right. All right. So now this point will, yes, it does work. I know it works. This point tucks under there. Okay. So that point tucks under there, and this point tucks under the other side, and they hold each other down. So there's that. So let me go ahead and ink the edges, and then you can see it better. Okay, there's number 4. So I hope that was clear. If you play it over again, it'll come together. And again, see how, if this was glued down on a page, it would still be very easy to slip that out. And there's a writing spot. So the only tricky part would be lining it up the way you wanted it on the page, because it's on a diagonal before it's folded. So here's the square that is the folds. So if that was on a page, you'd bring that one down, and then you'd bring that one and slip it under, and there it is. So there's a really cool hidden writing spot. Now this next one, you need a certain kind of ratio for it to work well. And the original instructions were for 15 by 22 centimeters. And that's pretty darn close, as far as I know, to an A4 size piece of paper. So because I have 11 and A2 8.5 by 11 paper, what I did was I kept the 11 inches and I just cut it down to 7 3/4 inches. So this is 11 by 7 3/4 inches. And that way I've got the right proportions. So what I was trying to figure out what would be really good. So let's go ahead and do this. And what you want to do is you want to start by folding it this way. So you get long and narrow. And then you want to hold down that center point and fold down each side to the center. Super, super simple, this one. And again, I like to hold that down so that when I bring this down, I get a more accurate fold. So you've got that now, right? Okay. All right, guys, you can get out of the picture plane. And then this point goes up to there. So let's see if I got my calculations right. Well, it is close. Let's see what happens. So that goes up to there. Okay. And then you want to flip it over. And we want to, this is where we get that envelope shape now. You want to have quite a bit sticking up here. So I'm just lining up this edge to edge. Okay. Well, this is working fine. Okay. And then this comes over the top. So you might want to play around with different dimensions. And then this just tucks inside. And again, now this one is, there's all these folds on the back, but again, you could have this glued down, and so it is another writing spot, and you just have to flip that out. And mostly this is mostly an envelope. So this is something for putting something inside. And then that's your closure right there. Okay, so take that out. Okay, so there we have number 5. One more. Okay, so that one was pretty simple. So the next one is a little more complicated. Yeah, okay, to show you this one, I am using a whole 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And I'm putting it on the grid, but the main thing about this particular fold is that everything needs to be in thirds. So if you have a 9 by 9 square piece of paper, that gives you 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. This is 12 by 12, so I've got 4, 4, and 4, and that's in both directions. So that's very important. We need to have those dimensions. So really I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go ahead and make little marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we want to do is we want to fold that in thirds. So you don't even need to make the mark if you have a grid, but if you need to use a ruler, it's very helpful to just go ahead and make that dimensional mark. Okay? And we want to do the same thing on this side, but this side is much easier because you can just go right up to the other fold. So that first fold is very important. So now we have a third and a third and a third. We want to do the same thing in the other direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do need nice creases with this one. and it's going to fold itself. Once you've got all these creases, this is another one of those that will just virtually fold itself. And it's very pretty. Okay, so now you've got this 9 squares, right? So now we're going to go in the diagonals all the way across. Crease that nicely. Open it up again, go across the opposite direction. Give it a crease. Okay, and now we have all of these. So let me look at my little prototype over here. So now once you have those diagonals, we want to bring back one of the sides and bring up the corner to that first fold. Crease it well and reverse it. So we've got it this way and then reverse it. And you're just helping to make all those folds do their foldy thing. You can do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to do all 4 of them. We're training the paper to want to respond to the direction we want it to go. Okay. We're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing. Okay. So now we have all sorts of fun things happening. So we've got this kind of this responsive different angles going, and it doesn't look like it's going to work yet. I went through that when I was experimenting with this, going like, it just doesn't look like it's going to work. So this is where you start doing some coaxing. So we're going to, we've got some flexing going on, and we have these creases on the side. So those side creases are going to start giving us this kind of action. So we just have to kind of coax things to start going in the direction we want. Whoops, I forgot one. We need the creases in here too. That's what I forgot. Okay. Because we've got, yeah, see, we've got this crease. Yeah, we need this crease. Okay, so when these points come down like this, you need this crease. There we go. I forgot one. That way we get this pinwheel kind of looking thing. So let's see if this one's going to behave. Yep, that one's going to behave. So this one, we need this crease too. I'm probably not doing this the way the original instructions went, but that's okay because you get to see that we're manipulating a lot of paper here. So now when we open this up, you see this pinwheel thing starting to happen, and they're all going to go in a different direction. So it's happening. Ta-da! Okay, so now we have this pinwheel thing happening. And now you can kind of coax everything down to lay nice and flat. All right, it worked. All right. So yes, once you get all of those diagonals going, then it just wants to kind of flop into place. I don't care which direction you do it. It just wants to flop into place. You need all your diagonals on all of those squares. So this is what we have. So there's our original center square. So we have 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. So this is your dimension. I mean, sorry, 4 inches, because this was a 12 by 12. The first one I did was 3 inches. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So that's how it ends up, which I found very interesting. And now fold one over, one over, one over. And this one is going to go right in there. So you don't want to use a heavy cardstock for any of these origami envelopes because you need that flexibility. And this becomes quite a fat little packet. So let me ink the edges on just this part. And it doesn't matter which one gets folded in first. Now, this again, you can glue down the back. And maybe just like, when we're gluing down any envelope, just glue the center, and that gives you a little more flexibility in the front for getting things in and out. So when we open this up, you can just stop there and you could glue something on here and do something very decorative. You could have a greeting or some other little thing happening here. And that way it just, there it is. So this could be a really cool pocket to hold a message. And again, it's a hidden journaling spot. Come on, go in there. There we go. Okay, so that was, here we go. Let's get all our little fellas in there. So this one, super simple. Fold it diagonal, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Tuck it in, fold it over. Done. All you have to do is maybe put like a uh, little piece of paper so that this can tuck in like a matchbook kind of thing. This one is the same, except that we took one of those corners and turned it into a tuck spot. And this one's very flexible. You can play around with that one. It's kind of fun too. Okay, so this one, it starts to get a little bit more complex, but it still opens up and you have your hidden writing spot or put a little goodie in there or something. Ta-da. This one is not hard at all. You just want to get the dimensions right. So half, down, over, and wrap it around. And then our pinwheel. Okay, so I think that these are really fun, and I'm definitely going to be practicing these and putting them as little extra goodies in the journals that I make. And I'm glad we had this collaboration because looking at the list and thinking about the letters of the alphabet and what we do in journals has really stimulated. I notice with a lot of people, it's just stimulating all of these ideas of, well, what do we put in our journals and what could we put in our journals, right? So I hope a little paper folding origami fits with what you like to do. And so that's for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.